So today is my 60th birthday. I often hear people talk about what would they say to themselves, their 18-year-old self, knowing what they know now. And when I think about that, I would say the same thing to myself at 18 that I would say to you today. Live fearlessly, follow your heart. Understand that if you live fearlessly and follow your heart, the money is going to come anyway. Don't worry about the money. It'll come. I I would say you are the creator of your experience, and you have the ability to let the past go. Because you have to realize at 18, I was dealing with a lot of self-doubt and self-worth because of my situation with my father, right? So I those are the kinds of things I would say to an 18-year-old today. But the catch-22 of all this is, would I say those things to that 18-year-old self if I hadn't gone through all I've been through? If I hadn't lived the life I've lived, would I say those things to my 18-year-old self? I am grateful for every day that I've lived. I am grateful for all of the traumas of my life. I'm grateful for my 3 ex-wives who taught me to never give up on who I am authentically. You know, we may not have lasted, but I learned the lesson. The lesson was be yourself completely. And when I took me a long time to learn it, but where I am in my life now is so spectacular. You know, I'm loved, and I know I'm loved, surrounded by people I love who love me in return. I'm living a life of just joy. I make these videos because I love doing them. You know, I help people in private sessions because I love doing them. My life is so beautiful, so good. And all of the traumas of my life are the baseline that I measure my life against now. You know, when I was an 18-year-old kid dealing with my own self-doubt, my own self-worth, I was living a really hard time. But now I look back at that, and rather than think, what would I tell that kid? I think that kid taught me so much. That fear, that self-doubt. I measure my love now against the fear that 18-year-old was in. And the love is more rich because of that 18-year-old. So what would that 18-year-old say to me? He would think he was unworthy. He would think he was unwise. He would not speak to me as an authority in any way, shape, and form. I look back and I say, this is my life. And these are the things I would say to you. But even though I would say those things to an 18-year-old now, I am grateful for the life I've lived to be able to have the wisdom to say those things now. When I look at my life ahead, I'm 60 now. And people have often said, John, why don't you dye your beard? And I say, no, I'm proud of everyone, proud of every gray hair. Because every gray hair was a lesson in how to love better, how to live better, how to experience life from a position of love and compassion. Every gray hair is a tribute. It's a monument to a life well lived. And I will absolutely be living for another 60 years, 120, that's what I'm going for, right? I will absolutely live much longer and live a much more joyous life, and it'll only get better because I believe that. My world is changing minute by minute, just as yours is. But it's what we believe about this moment that's going to come into our experience. And for that 18-year-old to be able to change his life enough to get to where I am now is miraculous. And I look back at that 18-year-old and I thank that 18-year-old for coming through all of this stuff to get to where I am now. And I would say, thank you. Thank you, 18-year-old self, for living the life your way, for living the life and learning the lessons that I, at 60 years old, get to reap the benefit of. So what would I say to my 18-year-old self? I'd say thank you. Thank you for living your life. That 18-year-old self first ran away from everything and went to the Renaissance Festival circuit. There's a joke I often say is when you run away and join the circus, you won't be surprised when you're surrounded by clowns. I was one of the ones running away from my life. And I ended up finding something I loved and was passionate about. I also found that if I followed my heart and I did the things I wanted to do and took risks, because if you really think about my life, Renaissance festivals, you wouldn't think it would be very profitable. It became very profitable for me. I became a spiritual speaker. It was wonderful. Became a corporate speaker. It was wonderful. Became a college professor. It was wonderful. I came back to spirituality and became a YouTuber. It's been wonderful. I take all these risks through my passion, through my love. And would I have taken these risks if that 18-year-old hadn't lived the life that 18-year-old has lived? That's my thought on what I would say to my 18-year-old self. And I think it's been a beautiful life thus far, but I'm only halfway done. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.